everybody, this is Troy from Michigan Prospectors. Well, I've got gold fever and I'm back at it. It's been a long time, but I took a little break from the firewood processing business. We had some bad weather and I had some bad health, and this weekend we had some nice weather. We happened to be over to Lake Huron and I got a big sample. Well, more than that actually. I got this plus a bunch of Tupperware containers of some black sands. Pretty decently concentrated black sand from Lake Huron. And I got the Dream Mat Micro sitting here. I'm going to run it all through. Now I've got a pan at the back end to catch it, to catch the heavies. And the light stuff is flushing on out into the big tray, the big container, so I can recapture and reevaluate everything. The idea though is anything heavy that it might pass through here will be caught down in the pan, and then any light stuff will just blow out. So I got a secondary capture down there just to see. I want to pan that out when I'm done and see if I missed anything. I haven't used the Dream Mat much yet, so I'm still fine-tuning it. You may remember I built this water feed system last summer, and in the fall I got going on my firewood business, and that was the end of that. So I'm feeding this really slow because it's really thick and dense with black sand. So I'll show you here. You can see how thick, well, there's a good scoop right there, how thick the black sand is in there. That's just really dark, really thick black sand, heavy. So I'm feeding it relatively slow to give the mat a chance to do its job. This was all sorted and layered out by the action of the water, and it was brutally cold, so I did not do a test pan while I was there. It was just crazy windy cold. The air was warmer, but out by the water was just insanely cold. So I didn't hang out, didn't take time. I did not want to get my hands wet, but I just scooped the mess up, figure I'll bring it home, run it through here and see what we have. Let me give you a close-up of this pan. It's some pretty thick stuff. See, that's pretty dense black right there. A lot of black sand in there. A lot of thick black sand. There's some blondes, of course, and there was also some reds and yellows. I'd love to sort this stuff out later, but right now I just want to look for gold. Right there is, let me get this to turn. There's a really thick concentration right there. Right there, you can see just really, really thick stuff in there. You can see that black sand is so dense in there, it's forming streaks on the mat. So I can't feed it too fast. I don't want to overfeed it. That'll form a streak here. Their streak is still running out. I really want to work on the water flow rate on this a little better and even that out. There, you can see this is really loaded right here in this back end. Here I got a bit of a streak running. The front part of the mat's not really going to capture or hold much because of the turbulence from the water flow. At this time I do not have a adjuster for the flow rate on this particular pump that I'm using. Everything's frozen outside, and the freeze caught me off guard in the fall, and so everything's sort of stuck out there. I didn't get a lot of my stuff in, and I'm a little limited to what I have on hand right now. See here, this is loaded up, so it's a slow process because there's a lot of heavy black sand, really dense. These cells back in here are totally loaded. I'm hoping it's doing its job. I check with a flashlight from time to time, see if I see any colors, but it's hard to see with the turbulence. But I can see that these cells here are generally staying empty. The turbulence is really heavy right after this screw. Right behind that screw, everything gets ripped up. So that screw really disturbs the flow. After that, and around the outside edges, it closes up here again. It flows normal again. But I can see the cells are holding some heavy stuff in here. So they're doing their job. Here, I still got a little bit of a load right here. Well, guys, I'm panning the cons out. And just roughly, I'm not even really trying. I was just shaking it up. There's a speck here and a speck here. This is what's left after panning it down a little. But I see two specks. I highly doubt I'll be able to get the camera on that very well. Let me see if I can get that on camera and show you how they do show up. There's one right here, right there, and there's one right here. They do show up. They're little, they're tiny, but it is good to see that there's some color in my pan. And like I said, I wasn't really panning it well. I was just shaking it up and swishing it back roughly with my with the water. Now I'm gonna really look at it. I was not sure, but now I'm gonna take it a little bit slower. Now that is just what I had. Actually, this pan, I cleaned the sluice mat back into this pan because I love my black pan for those little flakes of flour gold. So now I'm going to take my time and pan this out more carefully and see what all we got here. And there's more. I've got more. This was from a hole I dug down about 4 or 5 inches deep. And there was a thin, maybe 1/8 to 1/4 inch layer of black sand, and then maybe 1 inch or so of white, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches of white, and then another thin layer of black sand. What I did is I scooped off that thin layer. I dug a little hole. It may be as big around as the pan, and at the bottom of the hole it was only as big as the bottom of the pan. Really, it wasn't much of an area, and I scooped off just that little layer. Enough to get this pan full. It wasn't much, but knowing it's there, that's good news. Look at that one, guys. I'm still just messing around. There's another one over here. Can I turn the pan a little? Right there. Oh, don't have my finger on it yet. Where are we here? I don't have my finger on it yet. Where are we? Here it is. Yep, right there. That's a nice flake. Little speck. So that's pretty. Well, I'm gonna try to pan this out right, but I'm excited. I'm just having a blast seeing the color show up. Look here, guys. I think I might have myself a flake of silver, speck of silver right there. That is heavy and flat. I looked at it under a magnifying glass and it's really heavy and flat. So interesting. Well, guys, there they are. There's 7 colors. I see. Let me see if I can. I'm dropping water. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 colors in the pan. It's nothing spectacular, but that was only 1 pan of sand from Lake Huron. So I'm happy. That was just 1 pan. 7 colors in 1 pan for Lake Huron Beach is impressive. And I've still got some other samples to process. And I'm going to check the tailings. But that's pretty cool. I'm running the tailings through the milling table. But I just wanted to share with you the beautiful colors in this sand. This is actually part of the reason I picked it up. There's the black, actual really black sand, the magnetics. Then there's a red layer of garnet. Then there's green, which if I don't want to say the wrong one, epidote I think is what I'm trying to say. But then there's a yellow sand. And I'm not sure, I want to say citrine, but I'm not sure if we even have that in Michigan. I'm not exactly sure what the yellow is. Love to hear from you in the comments but we've got a distinct black sand, a distinct red garnet layer, and a very distinct green sand, and also a very clear, distinct yellow. When I look at it under a magnifying glass, you can see the individual grains, and then there's a clear, which would be your quartz. But really interesting colors in this sand. Just beautiful when it sorts out. Actually, I'd love to find a way to separate the sand layers. I'm going to keep this and see if I can find a way to separate it all. I did not find any gold at all on the Miller table. So, looks like the Dream Mat did its job. I still have these 4 little Tupperware containers to try out. I don't know what to expect. That pan currently has something else in it, but that pan is what I had filled with the black sands down deeper. These 4 were taken off the surface where the sand was layered in different colors. These I just scooped up all the colors combined, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any gold in these at all. But I'm still impressed with 7 flakes to a pan for around here. Well, there it is, guys. It's hard for me to get. It's in the vial. It's not huge, but it's pretty. You can tell it's gold. I get about 1 flake per pan out of my yard, and over at the lake nearby I get a flake per garden shovel, a little hand shovel, and here I got 7 flakes to a pan on Lake Huron, which is beyond what I expected. Actually, anything was more than I expected. Oh, that's sort of cool. Well, please like this video and stay tuned for part 2. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm back in action. Talk to y'all later.